Hello, Holistic Chamber of Commerce family. Welcome to this Meet a Member segment where I'm excited to talk to Sherron Hughes. And we're going to talk all about how to face life fearlessly and vibrantly. A little bit about Sharon. She is a master Chinese face reader and certified emotion code and body code practitioner. She uses her craft to help people to understand themselves as well as better communicate with others. So, welcome, Sharon.
Hi, Laura. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so let's start with Chinese face reading. What exactly is that?
Well, it's a way to understand ourselves. We have all these wonderful innate gifts, talents, and abilities that we have been gifted with, and those are all evident on our face. And so, whenever we know what those strengths, talents, and abilities are, and we also know what our challenges are, we can work with those because the Chinese believe that you have to use your gifts in order to fulfill your destiny and your purpose in life. So it's kind of important to know what those are.
And so, what is it exactly that it's used for today? Because Chinese medicine goes like way back, tens of
Yes.
thousands of years. So,
Right. It goes back, 3,000 years. And what happened was all of the emperors wanted to know who that could they trust, and also who could they send into battle to keep them in power. And so what happened was the ancient monks and the leaders started making inventories of people's faces, and they noticed a correlation between certain face features and characteristics and character of people. And so it became part of Chinese medicine because once it was discovered that you could see the colorations and things on the face that would indicate some illness, then it was really helpful to the ancient physicians because up until then, they couldn't touch women. They had to use a statue for a woman to point to in order to let them know what, she was having a problem with. So it hasn't really changed a whole lot exactly because it's still used in medicine, both Western and Eastern medicine. But today it's used in the legal profession, it's used in business, it's used in sales. And that's how I got into it. I was a salesperson. And there's always that one customer or client that you have a tough time with as a salesperson. And that's the person who can't make a decision right away. And so once I could understand and predict that this would be the behavior, I could work with them a little bit better and not, to make them feel more comfortable that I wasn't going to push them for a decision. As a matter of fact, one time I said to this gentleman, I know you're going to need time to think about it. So let me get back with you next week. And he was like, oh, you just relaxed and everything. So it's really important to be able to understand who it is you're talking to in sales, in business. Hiring managers can use it. A consultation today just for an individual would just help you understand yourself better, what your challenges are, what your strengths are. Did I answer your question?
you did, you did. And it's very fascinating to me because when we were having a discussion before we went live, I have always seen the face reading as a way to detect illness or things that aren't working well with the body. So when you start talking about helping people like to understand themselves better, but also communicate better, I've never heard that. So that's really fascinating to me.
Right, right. And I do teach it. It is really fascinating to learn it and to learn not only about yourselves, but everybody that you know, and you can understand them better as well. So it's really great for any kind of relationship, all kinds of relationships.
What when we say like it helps us better understand ourselves, what does that mean? Like what are some things that people can better understand about themselves?
Okay, so sometimes we have a hard time accepting things about ourselves. We wish we were more like this person, we wish we were more like that person. But really, what we need to do is we need to be ourselves. And sometimes we need to understand that what our strengths are, so that we can use those. So, like, I'll just use myself as an example. I always had really heavy eyebrows until I decided to over tweeze them. But those heavy eyebrows are an indication of a person who has a lot of drive and a lot of ambition and a lot of passion as well. And so today I would encourage no one to ever pluck their eyebrows. Get them groomed a little bit, that sort of thing. But if you do have heavy eyebrows, that is a real asset for you because that's your drive and ambition in life, and it will make you. They will make you, passionate about what you do, what you choose to do. So that's one way, one example.
I almost feel like it's kind of like when you have an astrology reading or something, and they're talking about your strengths and gifts.
Mhm.
So it's almost like you're doing the same thing, but reading the face.
I'm sorry. It's almost like what?
You're doing the same thing, but you're reading the face.
Yes, yes. And so, I had a gentleman one time and I said something about, particularly the nose. And he says, "Well, I have the nose that my father has." And I said, "And your father had those qualities too, right?" And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, you're right." So every feature tells us a different thing about our face. So our nose would be about our ambition. Our nose would be about it would be about our back and our neck, and it would be about how aesthetic we like for things to be in our lives. Um, just there's just a wealth of information. There are many layers to it, and so it's kind of like the Russian dolls. You've got the outside, and then you've got all of the others inside. And what we want to do is get down to the authentic self, so that everybody can use their gifts, talents, and abilities to their to have the best life possible. Because whenever we are going against the flow, let's say, somebody who had really heavy eyebrows wanted to be a really calm person who, or maybe they wanted to be a really, lively person or something like that, like a fire element. They're going to be going against the flow. And so there's that five elements of Taoist philosophy, which is water, wood, fire, earth, and metal. And so you're going to have all of those within you because they correspond to all of the five major organs, but there's going to be a couple of them that are more dominant for you. So I'm more of a wood and fire element. So it's really important for me to be around people. I have to get out of the house every day. It would be really difficult for me to stay at home for 3 or 4 days like we had to during COVID. That was just horrible for me. But there are people who are water elements that is just wonderful. And I always think of not Thomas Edison, Sir Isaac Newton. Wonderful metal element. He was just metal and water, and he, a brilliant mind. I mean, it's a great combination for the two. But he would wake up in the morning, he would forget to get up because he had so many things on his mind.
Interesting.
I know.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of understanding your strengths and even understanding your challenges and being okay with that, being accepting of, this is not my strength and that's okay.
I have another one. So it's really important for us to be who we authentically are.
Mhm.
That's how we fulfill our purpose in life and our destiny.
For sure, for sure. You also do emotion code and body code. Talk a little bit about that for those that may not really know what that is.
Okay, so Dr. Bradley Nelson, who was a chiropractor, he had discovered through his brother that you could actually heal through using magnets and actually heal through using the subconscious mind, which is applied kinesiology through muscle testing. And so it's basically, what happens is whenever sometimes we have an emotion that's negative, we don't really have time to process it. And so whenever we don't, it gets lodged in the body. So emotion code is about unloading this. It's getting rid of the emotional baggage that we've been carrying around. And if you feel like you've been going through the same thing over and over and over again, this is emotional baggage that needs to be released. And if you've had a particular trauma or something like that, emotion code can help you release all of that as well. The body code takes it a little bit further in that what happens is whenever these emotions get trapped in the body, it slows down the flow of chi in the body, which is the natural flow of energy, and that can cause discomfort and pain and illness. And so we have a method, some software of being able to get to where it is lodged in the body and being able to free it from there to alleviate that.
So is this like energy healing?
It is energy healing. Yes, exactly. I should have said that.
No, I'm just trying to understand because I've heard of it, but I don't know much about it. And so I didn't know if it was like an energy modality or if like you actually have like a gadget that scans people.
No, not really. We just do it with muscle testing, and actually, we can do it remotely. I could proxy test for you right now. But the neat thing about this is that I would see, on people, I would do their face reading, and I would see that there was something that they had perhaps a health issue about, and now I can help them release that. And then also our wrinkles and our lines and our markings tell about our stresses and our traumas and the things that the negative emotions that we've had, a lot of times negative emotions, sometimes positive, that we've had. And so whenever I could see those, and one of the things we can tell with Chinese face reading is there is the innate energy that we get. It's from our ancestors, and it's the gene, and that is our energy. We only get a finite amount of that. Now our chi is so the gene would be the genetics, and the chi would be the epigenetics. Okay, so we only get a finite amount of gene, and we can tell from your face if you are overusing your gene prematurely, and that would be shortening your life, and what you could do to boost your chi to offset the overuse of your gene.
This must be like what do they call it? Almost like a consequence of your work. Like you meet people and you can't help but like start like diagnosing and looking at their face. And
Well, I don't usually look that closely when I first meet someone, but I can, look at you and go, oh, I know that this would be important to you. So, I know that you have a lot of qualities that you like people, and you like taking care of people in a way. I think you do have good boundaries, but you are interested in people. And you also have the great quality of having the metal element, which is that that very fine aesthetic. You like aesthetics. You like, things to be real nice and orderly and neat. Am I
like,
right, Laura?
yes, it's like,
Yeah, and I can just tell that just by looking at a couple of things on your face. And I try never to make people uncomfortable, especially if they know I face read.
yeah. And you teach people to face read too?
Can teach, yes, teach it as
Yeah.
well.
I'm like, ooh, I want to learn that. It's like magic.
It
Let
is
me
a lot
try
of
it.
fun. It is
I
just
can
a lot of fun.
imagine. I
Yes.
can imagine. So what does it look like to work with you? Let's say someone's interested in like having, their face read or whatever. What does that look like?
Okay, so what I would request is several photos that you could send to me electronically, of course, and I would study those. We would get together for about a 90-minute session, and I would do a PowerPoint for you, so you have something to keep for that face reading. And we'd talk about all aspects of that. And then if you wanted to work with emotion code or body code, those are 30-minute sessions or 40-minute sessions, and we can do that remotely as well.
Oh, fantastic. So it doesn't matter where anybody is, you can do your thing.
We can. Yes. Yes.
Uh,
It's
that's
very
amazing.
empowering.
Yeah, yeah. Are there like do people come to you with like particular problems, or they're just like really intrigued by, having their face read?
I think sometimes we do it for people who are in transition. Now, you need to be 23 years old or older because your face really hasn't stopped growing until then. But, sometimes young people are not quite sure what type of work to go into. And so that's one way to find out is what your real strengths are, what your capabilities are. And then sometimes when people are going through transitions, if you wanted to transition from one career to another, that's one way. I've had managers come to me and say, I have two candidates for this job. Which one would be better based on their face? Which is really cool because, we can teach skills, but, to get someone who is going to be comfortable with with those job duties is really, really important.
Hmm. Wow, interesting. I could see how it would be a really useful corporate tool, like for hiring and yeah. Wow, fantastic. So if someone wants to get in touch with you, do you have like a free consultation, like a webinar they can watch?
I am redoing my website right now, but yes, I do have a free 15-minute consultation for both the motion code and body code. And yes, I'll talk to anybody who wants to discuss face reading to see if they want a reading.
Okay, and how can they schedule that consultation with you?
Okay, so my email is SHERRON at JADE, that's Jade, just like the stone, and then INST, Jade, INST.com. And that's the best way to get in touch with me.
Okay, very good. We'll type that in the comments. So for anybody who is listening and watching, if you're interested in connecting with Sherron to get more information or to schedule a face reading or a body or motion code reading, send her an email.
Great.
Is there any last minute thing you want to say before we wrap up for today?
Just that, every face is beautiful, and be your authentic self and find out who your authentic self is so you can be that.
That's lovely. Thank you so much, Sherron, for joining us today and sharing your knowledge and information about face reading and all the wonderful things we can learn about ourselves just by looking at the face.
Okay. Thank you so much, Laura.
Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Bye-bye.